Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2024. The topic is mindset, and the title is Don't Make It More Than It Is. I have two clients I wanted to share a little bit of their struggles and talk through the mindset that is possibly contributing to those struggles. So both clients are making progress, so that's helpful to know. And it's kind of funny, as I was typing up today's outline, I thought to myself, it's probably weird for a trainer to talk about when clients struggle. And I didn't even think of it until I was almost done with the outline. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. But then I was like, but that's exactly what I need to do, because people struggle. Everyone struggles. I struggle at times. It's universally just true that we all go through seasons of life where it's just things aren't always what we see on social media. They're not always what we see in movie montages where, you know, things just seem to work out, or the grind is like a 13-minute segment at most. Usually it's 3 minutes. The grind of life is cyclical and constant. That sounds depressing, but the reason why I say it that way is that is what everyone is going to experience. You're going to experience some seasons where things are going well, seasons where they're not, and that just cycles back through. You hope that through the cycles, in the grand scheme of things, you can see that there is a progressive pathway happening. Like there is definitely something good coming through it all, and that helps you motivate you through the current tough seasons if you're having one. But I do want to talk about struggles that clients face because it is reality. And the whole point of me getting into doing what I do, I was talking with somebody about this over the weekend, is it organically started. Like I started working with people, I'll make it very quick, is I started learning about training and nutrition when I was 15. As I started to learn more, I got excited and I would tell my friends. My friends would try the stuff and they would see good results. All of a sudden, outside of my little friend circle, some other people started asking for advice, and they were maybe some older classmates, younger classmates. Then it was an older classmate's, parent needed help, and it just kind of organically grew from there. I started doing it because I learned something. I thought it was super exciting, and when somebody asked me that was in any way related to what I just learned, I told them because I was excited to tell them. I was like, oh man, have you tried this? Because if you try this, it's going to solve the problem, and then you're going to feel great. Like, won't that feel great to feel great, So that is my drive in the sense of why I do what I do, is I just want to help people, and that correlates to why I would talk about clients struggling, is because everyone can benefit from that story, because everyone is going to struggle. I would rather people know the truth, get the benefit, than to think, oh, okay, you hire a coach and everything works out perfectly. Unfortunately not. It works out a hell of a lot better typically than without the coach. But there are still going to be some challenges and some adjustments. The coach can just tell you kind of what those, game plan with the person basically. You game plan with your coach and you get through those obstacles faster and smoother with less stress. That's the idea. Is you're traveling the journey with someone, and that someone has a lot more experience and education in the matters that you will face, so therefore you can face them together and go through them together, and that'll happen faster and more efficiently. So that's the idea. I wanted to just get that out of the way, just because it came to mind as I was finishing up the outline. The first client I want to tell you about, they are struggling to lose weight. They train 4 days a week, but they want to train more. Their nutrition targets, they have them set every day. There's several example meals that are within their nutrition targets, but they have recently asked if they can switch to a low-carb diet. They're struggling to make progress. And in response, they're wanting to do more. More time in the gym and more restrictions within their diet. I have another client who's actually conversely struggling to gain weight. He trains 5 days a week, but he asked if we could drop some of the volume work and the mobility stuff to create more space for heavier lifts. He has nutrition targets, like minimums he has to reach each day, And he has leeway for 1 or 2 days a week if he needs to and he's feeling burned out. Just drop to the minimums, do what you can to get through that day, and then the next day try to push again above the minimums to try to push to grow. But he's feeling burned out, so he's struggling because he's burned out with eating, but he's frustrated he's not making faster progress. So he asked if we could increase the minimums, if we could increase the amount of calories and protein that he's supposed to be having so that we can grow more. For both of these clients, they're struggling. They're making progress, but they want to make progress faster. So they want to do more. But the first client, they're not consistent with their diet. They've only hit their nutrition targets, their calories and protein, 12 out of the last 28 days. The fact that they're seeing progress at all is great, considering we're not even halfway, not even 50% following the diet. So the frustration they feel isn't with lack of progress. The frustration they feel is they're not doing everything right. They have the pressure of doing everything right every day. They're falling short on that. They're frustrated with themselves. They're frustrated with the process. Why isn't the process happening faster? Well, no shit, it's not going to happen faster if you're only, following the diet half the days. But we don't let our brain think that. Our brain just thinks like, well, something's wrong with the diet. We got to adjust the diet. It wouldn't matter if you adjust the diet. You're not following the damn diet. And we know this. When we talk about other people or we look at others' lives, we tend to pick out these type of things, these behaviors, these false beliefs very easily. But in our own life, it's not so easy. We tend to be a little biased for ourselves. Our excuses tend to matter a little more than other people's. So this client is under-eating both calories and protein. It's causing the severity of their calorie deficit to be too large. In response, the body is lowering its daily caloric usage. Another way of saying this is the metabolism is slowing down. The body is just looking for ways to burn less calories every day, which means the body is actively fighting against fat loss. And it's also actively trying to replace body fat that is being burned off. It is looking for every opportunity possible to put that fat back on. So they're struggling to see results within the current program because they're not following the current program. Doing something different isn't the answer. Doing what they're already supposed to be doing is the answer. For the second client, the one struggling to gain weight, they're not consistent with their diet either. You're going to see this as a common theme. They will eat within their daily targets 4 out of 5 days, 4 to 5 days a week. But usually the range that they have is 2,800 to 3,200. I asked them on training days to try to eat up to 3,200. On days they feel kind of stuffed, see if you can at least get 2,800. If you can't get that, can you at least just get close, somewhat close? That is our goal. Is we have a 400 calorie window, and I've told them that on days they're struggling, if they can at least get 2,600 or 2,400, just get something. That way we at least hold the baseline till the next day. The problem is that they're only eating, the last Saturday, they only had 1,200 calories. That was it, and it was all at night. And in a way of trying to help, I said, hey, what's up? What happened on Saturday? And they're like, I woke up, I just wasn't really hungry all day, so I didn't eat. But then my friends invited me out, so I decided to go ahead and eat when we were out. So I had I think it was wings or something, and it ended up being 1,200 calories. There were 60 grams of protein, but it's only 1,200 calories. That's less than a third. Well, I mean, that's less than half of what we need. And I was like, well, we know we need to eat if we want to grow. You just did a big workout on Friday. Eating nothing on Saturday is going to really basically waste that Friday workout. We're not going to get any growth from that because there's no material to grow with. Could you, next time, can you do a protein shake at least? Or we got to drink some calories. Just drink a carton of orange juice. I don't care what you do. Just get some calories in your face, even if it's liquids. We got to get more than nothing, and we got to get more than 1,200. So they're struggling to see results within the current program because they're not following the program. For both of these clients, the question now becomes, why? Why aren't we following the program? And this extends to you, the listeners. If we have a goal, and within that goal you have daily and weekly actions, if you're not following through on those actions, why? For the first client, they have example meals. They have control over their schedule. They have the financial means to buy the foods necessary, the time to prepare it, the full understanding of what steps to take. There should be no doubt in their mind what they can do next to make progress. We've covered it extensively and multiple times. They have all of the information and the resources needed. So why aren't they prioritizing what they need to do greater so it gets done? My guess is there's not enough practice in doing so. They have kids, they have a husband, they have friends, they have work, they have social relationships, and what they probably feel are social obligations. They have all of these people, all of these things in their life, and up until this point, they've always put those people and those things first. They've put those people and those things ahead of their own health, which is why they're overweight and unhappy. They've carved out some time regularly for exercise, so they do exercise 3 or 4 times a week. It's been as high as 5 times a week before. So they've made time and space for exercise. They spend money and they've tried various diets and various food things. So they've spent the money, allocated resources towards diets in the past. But in order to make the next step of progress, they need the next step of claiming more of their own life for themselves. They need a little more time, not for exercise, they're doing great there, but for food prep. And this doesn't mean like the cooking and packaging and all that, just like literally sitting down and writing a grocery list. If you live in an area that you have Instacart, and you can have somebody do your shopping for you, that's amazing. If you can have Amazon send you stuff, that's amazing. If you don't live in an area with those things, then you have to allocate the time to go shopping. So sometimes we need more time. It's not necessarily for exercise if you're doing that on a regular basis, but it's for the nutrition. We have to plan and give more attention to our nutrition. They need more for themselves. And they need the people in their life to support that. It can be mentally and emotionally challenging to ask for more. And it can be scary to fear that maybe you won't get the support. Whether it's from a spouse or from friends, you're going to start to try to do things more for you, but people want what they have, and they're not willing to give it back or allocate it back to you, even though it's yours. And that's when it's unfortunately the case that we have to recognize that our life is ours, whether somebody likes it or not. And you have to take that time back for yourself. So she's likely battling feelings of selfishness, questioning whether she'll get the support or love that she asked for. And she's likely questioning whether or not, even if she does fully commit, will it be worth it? Will it work? Why rock the boat, right, if you have all these fears? Right now you're unhappy, but what if you genuinely try? People don't support it. It doesn't work out. And now you're even more unhappy. For the client who wants to gain weight, he has the same demands on life: money, time, support, and he's likely battling additional wants and desires. And this actually is the case for him. He wants to grow, so he hits the gym consistently 5 days a week. He eats well most of the times, but he also likes golfing with his friends. He likes going out on dates. He likes things that aren't synchronized with the goal of growth. So right now he's doing a little of this, a little of that, and unfortunately, he's getting a little. Does he have to give up golf? Hell no. Eat before you go. Eat a small bar or snack or something while you're there, and eat afterwards. Instead of going to a bar with your friends after golf, suggest they go to a restaurant that has a bar so you can at least eat some food while your friends drink. Stop at a fast food place on the way to the bar. I don't care. Just get some calories in your face. You need to grow. Does he have to give up dating? No. Eat before you go. As much as you can, make the dating experience involve some food. So that way you get a chance to eat while you're on the date. And eat afterwards. Or if afterwards is the next day, then try to eat as much as you can before you go on the date to at least cover your minimums. Right? What both clients are experiencing is the structure of their normal life, their normal habits, needs to change. And that starts with a change in mindset. What's preventing them from making the necessary changes? Something in their perception of what that change will require. How do we make progress through this? We pick something small, plan a corrective action, and we try it. One thing I've laughed at in regards to the perception of what it takes is doing the dishes. I've talked a little bit about this before, is I'll cook food, and when the food is ready, I just want to eat it, but then that leaves all the dishes undone. You say to yourself, I'll do them later. But we all know that later sometimes doesn't happen. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, the dishes pile up. As they pile up, we start to see them piling up, and we're going, oh crap, that's going to take a lot of time. Oh, I don't really have time right now to do that. I'm just going to put these dishes on those dishes, and now all of a sudden, I have more dishes. And it piles and piles and piles and piles up until one day we go to eat and we don't have any dishes. And then we're like, dang it, anyhow, you got to take all the time to clean all the dishes. It takes forever. We hate it. And it reinforces why we hate doing the dishes. Or after I'm done cooking, or as individual items I'm cooking finish, right after everything is prepared, I rinse and wipe the dishes, or I'll rinse and put them in the dishwasher. I have literally timed this on my phone, the stopwatch function on my phone, and it takes usually 3 minutes or less. Very rarely have I ever had it take longer than 3 minutes. I don't cook with every pot and pan, so I'm not, Gordon Ramsay. But I will cook with multiple pots and pans. I'll cook and have some elaborateness to it from time to time. But usually everything can be cleaned up in 3 minutes or less. Then the plate and the silverware, if you're actually using silverware and plates, or your paper plate maybe. But if you're using plate and silverware, after we're done eating, Meredith and I will put the dishes in the dishwasher rather than the sink. And thus the house stays tidy, and the big mountain of dishes never happens. It only takes 3 minutes to avoid that problem. Anytime I feel the urge to skip doing the dishes, I literally say to myself, dude, it takes less than 3 minutes. So I don't let it become greater than what it really is. In my mind, I remember that it is only 3 minutes. This is very, very important. What actions are you putting off? Where are you falling short? What aren't you doing that you know you should be doing? What's holding you back? If you know what you should do, but you're not doing it, is it because you're allowing yourself to believe it's bigger than it really is? If you need an extra hour twice a week to prep and plan food for the week, to make sure that you have enough groceries on the list, like you have everything you need. You're like, okay, I can plan this. I can make this in the mornings. It's 2 minutes or less. Okay, dinner does take some time to cook, but if I buy these things, I know I have them on hand, and I know I can kind of boil this pasta. Chickpea pasta is really high in protein, so I'll boil pasta. That only takes 8 minutes to boil, so that's pretty quick. I can start the water. While the water's boiling, I can chop up the vegetables. I can then put the pasta in. I can do this, and I can look and see in about 20 minutes I can have dinner prepared. I just have to make sure I have the chickpea pasta available, I have the vegetables available. Maybe my family would like some kind of sauce, so I'll have that on the side. They can add that, but that's too many calories for me. So you have to kind of plan this out. Now, if you need an hour once or twice a week to do that, can you ask your spouse to manage the kids? Can you give your kids a sit-down activity? Can you just tell them, hey, I am busy right now. I love you. Sit down. If you need me, call for me. But I need some space. I need to get this done. I need to feed all you crazy monkeys. I got to take care of this. Can you do anything differently than what you've been doing in order to create that margin, that time? Send your kids on a play date. Maybe it's not kids. That's usually what I get. So that's why I'm using it as an example. But if there's, social events and you're busy, all the time, you've got to let some things go to take care of your nutritional health. We literally just have to find any option whatsoever to give us a possible change. That's all I'm looking for. That's all you should be looking for, is what is anything I can try that allows for a difference in what I'm doing so I can get a difference in what I'm getting. I'd really encourage everyone to stop yourself when you feel like you need to do more in order to make progress. And instead ask, am I doing everything I should already be doing? 99.9% of the time, the people I'm working with, that's the problem. We don't need more. We just need to do what we're doing better. So get a yes to that question. Get to, can I attend to everything I'm already supposed to be attending to? Get to a yes on that before you ever add anything new. And in order to get to that, start with small adjustments. Try anything, literally anything. Test it out. See how it goes. Whatever happens, if it didn't go well, adjust, then try again. That's it. We just try something. We see what happened. We game plan based on what happened, and then we try again. That's life. Don't make things harder by adding more things. So many people want to add more to what they're already not doing. Don't make things harder by believing that it takes more time, energy, and resources than what it actually takes. If something literally only takes 3 minutes, do it. You can take 3 minutes. You're fine. You'll survive. Take the 3 minutes, get it done. Don't let it turn into an hour later in the week. Focus on what you already have. Focus on what you're already supposed to be doing. Don't add more. And don't allow yourself to believe something is larger than what it really is. To make a good breakfast in the morning takes 2 or 3 minutes. That's it. So when you say, I don't have time in the morning, yes, you do. You're choosing not to set aside 2 or 3 minutes. That's the issue. And what can we do from there? If you won't even take 2 minutes to make a meal, does there need to be a hack? Do we need a podcast about that? Do we need a life intervention? Just take the 2 or 3 minutes. If you're not taking the 2 or 3 minutes, you probably don't really actually want the goal that you're working on. So alleviate yourself from that pressure and say, it's not that important for me right now. Yes, I would like to achieve that at some point in my life. But right now, I don't even have the capacity for 2 or 3 minutes of a breakfast. So this maybe isn't the right season. Maybe it's not even the right goal because I don't feel that motivated to do the stuff that I need to do to reach it. So have an honest discussion with yourself. But if you can't get to the discussion point of saying, it must not be that important for me, and you're like, but it is, then take the 2 or 3 minutes and do what you're supposed to do. It's got to be one or the other. You either have to give a shit or not give a shit. But you got to do it. Follow through with the actions or alleviate yourself from the goal and say it's not the right season of life. Essentially, that's what we've got to come down to. We have to decide, are we going to do the things I'm supposed to be doing? Now, if you're wondering how in the world you can get a 3-minute breakfast before you tell me I'm full of shit, there's a lot of breakfasts and things that you can get that are just pre-made and packaged. Like one example is individually packaged mixed nuts, or you can get cashews or almonds. But you can get those in like 1 or 2 ounce packets, and then get a Core Power drink. Or if you're, like lactose intolerant, you can get a Fairlife. But like Core Power is something Meredith drinks. It's 26 grams of protein. It's like a chocolate milk kind of drink. And you literally just have to rip the top off, start drinking it. You grab the 1 or 2 ounces of the nuts, and you rip the top off of those, start eating them. And you can have all of that in 3 minutes or less, for sure. Or you can have that during your commute to work. There's also a podcast, 678. It's an old podcast. I recognize that. So if you want to find an older podcasts on your podcast player, you can actually go to our website, www.brittleiron.gym.com. Go scroll down on the homepage. There's a podcast player there that goes back 300 episodes. But underneath that, it has instructions on how to search for older podcasts. So follow the search instructions and then just type in 678. And you'll see podcast 678, nutrition, quick meals, and easy food prep. And that'll give you some good examples of some fast and quick, easy meals. But essentially, we have to decide to do something differently if we want to get something differently. I understand the fear of rocking the boat. If I ask for more time from my loved ones, are they going to be resentful? Are they going to be mad? Are they going to feel like they don't love me? Like I don't love them, like that I need more time for myself. Like there's a lot to unpack there. Talk to them. Tell them about your emotions and say, hey, I really want to do this for myself because I believe it'll make me happier. But I'm fearful that if I ask for the time for myself, that maybe you'll feel like I don't care as much about you. I still want you to be happy. And if we can find a way in which I get the time for me to take care of myself, I would also love to help support you. What are ways I can support you other than giving you the time that I need for myself? Is there something else I can do? But talk to people. If they're in your life and they're a loved one, hopefully they love you back and they'll have that conversation with you. Sometimes people aren't, their EQ, emotional intelligence, isn't that high. So sometimes they'll have a crappy initial reaction. And if that's what you're used to experiencing, understand that might happen. And then just kind of revisit the conversation a second time, or just warn them ahead of time and say, hey, I'm going to ask for something. I know this is, might cause you to freak out a little bit at first. So if so, okay. But then I'd still like to talk about it after the freak out. So it's challenging. Communication is challenging with people, but it's possible. And it's always an option. You have to speak up for what you want if you actually want it. Okay, I feel like I got enough out. Probably got everything I need covered. But I hope that if you're struggling to take action on something that will help you live a healthier life, a happier life, I hope that you find a way to take some action. Something small. Maybe talk to people around you. Like, figure it out. Like, there's just got to be an option of something you can do to create a difference. And I encourage you to look for that something. If you need help, if you need anything, reach out on the bottom of our homepage. There's a contact form. You can send me a message anytime you want. Again, the website is www.brittleiron.gym.com. Okay. If you need anything, let me know. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. If you like the podcast, please consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. And if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.